Hello, and welcome to Unexplained Possibilities Podcast. I'm your host, Melvin the Crimson Taurus, and unfortunately, Niema can't be here with us. She is busy doing her fashionista designing bikini thing, and you guys need to go and check that out because she's actually doing a really awesome job with it. But as you know, whenever I do a podcast, I am not alone, and today is no exception. In fact, I have a very special guest with us, someone who you could say comes from beyond and far away. Beaming down to us, we have Christine Nowinski from Coming Out Cosmic. There we go. I got tongue tied. Good Lord. But hi, Christine.
Hi, Melvin. Wow, that was very, very good. Very professional. Thank you for that introduction.
Well, minus the tongue tying, but you're welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here. I love talking about unexplained possibilities. So I feel like I'm in the right place. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I see what you did there. I love that. Look at that. We got a name drop, not even from me. Woo! But I'm very excited to have you here. I was telling you off recording that, Unexplained Possibilities started from extraterrestrial alien talk. It honestly, it goes back a decade because of a friend who did a show called Alien Addictions, and it jumped from there. So I guess in a weird way, this is a spinoff, and
Oh, nice.
in a weird way, I suppose you could call it that. So I don't have too many people on who can yap about extraterrestrials or their experiences and what's actually going on, and it's so cool to have someone here and you could share your story, your truth, and fill us in on some of the blanks that we just don't know about.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I appreciate your openness and the openness of your audience because I understand that one of the reasons you might not have too many people come on and talk about aliens is because as normal as it seems for maybe like me or for you, it really is not that normalized yet. So that's one of the missions at Coming Out Cosmic is to normalize the strange and the esoteric and the paranormal. So again, I thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. And that's something that's interesting too because it's not normalized and people get ridiculed for it when they do
Oh yeah.
share their stories. And I like, okay, let's be real, there are some crazy folks out there, but
hmm
at the same time, we shouldn't just ridicule some, like, hear them out first. At the very least, give them that respect.
Yes, and you don't have to agree or you don't have to believe with anything that people say. I always say, like, hey, you don't even have to agree or listen to anything that I say. Always just take what resonates and leave what does not, because regardless, everybody is just living their own truth and their own reality. So for me, it's very easy to talk about what my truth is. So take it or leave it.
Mhm. And you have a very interesting truth because it's not just your truth, but I believe your father's truth as well.
Oh, yes. Alien Talks with Dad is what we go by on our TikTok lives at Coming Out Cosmic on TikTok. But I did actually start bringing my dad on my TikTok profile to start talking about aliens. And that was a story on how we both started talking about aliens together.
Okay, so keep it in the family.
Yeah.
So I'll need to get your TikTok as well so I can put it in the link in the description, excuse me. So remind me to get that.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
It,
And I just dropped my pen. Wow. Well, okay, but yeah, so how did your experiences start? Like when did you find out you were being visited and what did you do when you found out?
yes, these are all very, very good questions. And I will say that when I first started getting visited by aliens, I had no idea it was ET contact. I have never even really been into aliens. I don't watch Star Wars. I don't watch Star Trek, nothing like that. So for me to actually be coming out cosmic right now is a bit odd, especially for people who have known me my whole life. They all think that it is a bit odd for me to be talking about this, but it all started in 2014. And at that time, I lived in Guanajuato, Mexico, which is a very, very sacred land. Lots of ET contact that happens in Mexico. So I'm not surprised it started there. And what happened to me was I started having very vivid sleep paralysis episodes. And this would happen on a weekly basis where I'd wake up during sleep paralysis. And are you familiar with what sleep paralysis is?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Okay, perfect. So yes, and for anybody who's listening, it's just basically when you are conscious, but your body is asleep, is the easiest way that I can explain it. You can't move, you see things around you. And these sleep paralysis episodes were very scary for me, and they lasted for 10 years until I realized that it was actually ET contact. And the way that I realized this was, I would say around 2020, I had a massive reawakening, with my first awakening being in 2012, which for me, that means that I just really started getting into crystals and metaphysical things. But
Hmm.
2020 hit us all so hard. I think a lot of people woke up and started questioning their reality. And so in 2020, I started looking more into aliens. This led me to Elizabeth April, who's an alien channeler and remote viewer. So I learned a lot from her. And then I found my friend Laura from lauradchannels.com. She's a highly intuitive channeler, much like Bashar. Bashar is a voice channeler. Have you heard of Daryl Anka?
Yes, actually.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so
So this is the gift that my friend Laura has also. And I was talking with her. I'm like, hey, Laura, I've had sleep paralysis for 10 years. What is this? And she's like, oh, you're being contacted. There are 3 different alien races that are trying to connect with you. And they come to you during sleep paralysis. But hold on, the reason you keep waking up is because there's some sort of a glitch in your sleep paralysis.
hmm,
And I thought that that was kind of funny because Laura's like, oh, they're saying they're apologizing. They're sorry for scaring you. So that is a long-winded way of saying how my alien contact started. And since then, it's just grown and grown.
okay. Now that's the funny thing about it. When you become aware, it
Yep.
gets bigger. It's almost like a beacon just goes off, like, all right, here we go, boys. You
Oh, yeah.
know, it's so interesting.
And they're waiting.
Yeah.
They're waiting for that.
And with sleep paralysis, it's so interesting because, it's a lot of stories revolving around sleep paralysis. And in the medieval times, they would say that you were being visited by a succubus when you were
Mm,
dealing with sleep paralysis. And then in the modern times, it eventually became ET contact. And then sometimes it's just sleep paralysis, unfortunately, which is terrible. I don't wish that on anyone,
yes.
but I heard that from someone else. I heard that part of the sleep paralysis process, it's done by grays, Orion grays, because they're taking the astral body from the physical body. And I don't
Yep.
know if you ever heard that or not. I don't know how accurate it is.
Yeah, I do think that the Greys have a lot of involvement in sleep paralysis. I think that it depends on the person. I know in my case that the sleep paralysis was more my star family. And when I say star family, I just refer to like the galactic beings that are watching over me, more so of my own lineage, which is Arcturian.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that the Greys haven't come to me in sleep paralysis though, because there was one time where a malevolent Grey actually came to me in sleep paralysis. And it was so interesting because this was actually at my parents' house in my childhood bedroom. I was sleeping in the bed and I have mirrored closets. And they say that mirrors are portals.
Mhm.
So take it or leave it. But I remember I woke up in a sleep paralysis and I looked in front of me and there was my mother standing there. And I'm like, what is my mother doing here? And then she shapeshifted into a really scary, like zombie looking thing and was like, ah, like screamed.
Ooh.
And I screamed and I ran into my parents' bedroom. So come to find out, I believe it was actually a gray alien who was trying to scare me.
Well, he's a prick. Uh, Jesus. Yeah. Now, here's something I've always found interesting, and you might have an answer for this or an idea, but if we look at a map of visitations, for whatever reason in the Americas, we're visited most by
Mm,
reptilians and greys. Greys first, then reptilians.
mm,
Whereas in Europe or Australia, Africa, they're visited by other beings. They don't really get greys or reptilian visitations. And I think
mhm.
in Europe they get Nordic or Pleiadians, I think they're called. And do you know why that is?
Ooh, that's a really, really good question. And the only thing that's really coming to my mind right now is something that I read in the book Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak, and she is a Pleiadian channeler. And what she had written in the book was that the collective consciousness in America is rising very, very quick if you were to compare it to other countries. Now, that's not to say that other countries are not rising their consciousness. I'm not trying to pin people against each other at all. But with that being said, if the collective consciousness is truly rising more quick in America, then that could mean that the more malevolent beings are here to try to stop it, because that is not something that would be great for their malevolent agenda. They would prefer to keep us in a lower state of consciousness, more fear, more shame, more guilt, etc. So that would be my guess of why reptilians and greys are more so here in America, and maybe the other countries will find that that will happen more to them as their collective consciousness begins to rise. I'm not sure if that resonates with you or what you think about that.
Well, it's better than anything I came up with. I was just like, the world's probably divided and they all have some type of contract with,
Territory.
yeah, some
Yeah,
territorial contract. So,
right.
that's all I could think of with that. But it's something that I've always found interesting. And
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. But I like your explanation a lot better.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I would also say that maybe there's just different stargates, which would just be the way in which aliens can enter into this Earth realm. Like the location of the stargates might have a lot to do with the alien species.
Mhm.
But I definitely have noticed a higher percentage of reptilians here in America just based off of other people's stories.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. But who knows? Maybe one day somebody would just pop up and say, "All right, this is the reason. All right, we like the hot
Yes.
dogs or something." I don't know.
We love American culture. I don't know.
Yeah, just something. Now, here's something that's really interesting because you mentioned that your galactic family is Arcturian, and
Mhm.
not too many people that I know of anyway have a connection with Arcturians. Usually they'll say Pleiadian, they'll say
Mm.
Assyrian or Lyrian or something like that. And Arcturians are very interesting because, and I don't know how true this is. This is only things that I've heard from people and read, of course. Arcturians are supposed to be the architects of our
Yeah.
galaxy. And
Mhm.
perhaps they're the ones who seeded this planet. I don't know. But when they show up, and they don't show up to everyone, but when they show up, they're supposed to show up at like a sparkle or something
Mm.
like that. And fun fact, I actually saw a sparkle one time, well, two times, but one of them was different. But anyway, one time I did see a little sparkle, and it was accompanied by a gray alien. Uh,
Oh.
but it's a story to this. This involves someone else, not me. I'm just there. And anyway, I'm getting off topic. Who are the Arcturians, and what? Why are they interested in us?
Yes, this is another fabulous question. And it is definitely a question that I personally want to discover more and more as I discover more about the Arcturian lineage. Because even though it's my lineage, and I can tell you also, I can go into the story of how I found this out, I haven't looked too much into the history of the Arcturians and exactly why they're here, but I can give you an idea of why they're here. And that's because I've been so focused on my own mission as, I guess, an Arcturian incarnate in a human body to really get people to presently embrace their awakening. So I haven't really looked too much into the history, but I can tell you that they're definitely here for healing. They're definitely very high vibrational, although good and bad in all species. I'm sure that there are some that are more low vibrational because we live in an infinite universe. But yes, the Arcturians are extremely analytical. They like technology. I've also heard that they're the architects, and not just them, though. I feel like a lot of species had a say in the architecture of Earth and in the human body and design, etc. But when it comes to the Arcturians, it's actually very validating to me that you said that they appear as a sparkle, because I've never actually drawn that conclusion for myself, although I see sparkles all the time. So this is like a validation and a sign for me that, like, oh, that's them, because I typically see them in meditation, or I feel them around me.
Mhm.
So that's cool that I can draw that parallel with the sparkle.
Oh, right on. Yeah, the sparkle thing's interesting because I well, like I said, I experienced it firsthand. I saw it and was like, okay, and did a little pendulum thing. It's like, all right, let's get to the bottom of this.
Oh, cool.
And then oh, I can't think of her name, but very intuitive psychic who deals with various extraterrestrials. They themselves were like, they come to you or they show up like a sparkle, like a little thing of
Oh.
glitter almost. And I was like, huh, okay. And then I go to another person, they said the same exact thing, same exact way. They described as well the energy feeling. Like, it's different. It's nothing that is heavy or wants to hurt you or nothing like that. It's peaceful, I guess you could say, and
Yes.
just sort of relaxing and smooth, like, oh, hey, what's up? You know? It's like, all right.
Yes. It's peaceful and loving and very healing. I know that I do ask the Arcturians for healing almost every night, and that's for me selfishly because right now I'm pregnant and I have a 1-year-old, so I'm always like in need of healing and like more
Oh wow,
energy.
that was a fast turnaround.
Oh yeah,
Congratulations.
I know. It was not very much planned like this, but there are so many souls who want to come to Earth right now. Like, it is a show. Oh my God. These children, so many people that I know are having kids right now. And I do really believe that there's just a lot of souls that want to come through and watch everything that's unfolding.
You know, that you actually just triggered a memory for me. And this was a conversation I was having with someone, oddly enough, about Arcturians, and it was about reincarnation and our life's purpose and all of that. And this person, they had a god awful life, terrible,
Mm,
but they still make the best of it. And it's not their first life. This is like maybe their seventh. And we were just discussing Arcturians and how they are teachers, and how if you're going to be a teacher, then you know how you have students that just have it rough, and sometimes you can't get through to them unless you've experienced what they've experienced.
yes.
And we had that breakthrough, like, I think you're going through a rough time because this is your last life and you're supposed to understand so you can guide and reach out to some of the souls or spirits, people who feel like they can't turn to anyone because they have it so rough and whatever next life there is. And Arcturians are guiding you through this because you're
Hmm.
going to be a teacher after this life. You know, it sounds crazy, doesn't it?
No, not at all. I mean, maybe to more normies out there, but this is my life. This is what I live and breathe every day, man. I totally agree with you. Yeah, some of the most tough lives that are living are the ones that are meant to teach others. I definitely agree. And even that person, as they're going through a hard time right now in this life, they can also be a teacher in this life too, to teach people how they've gone through it. And especially if they're guided by the Arcturians, they've got no worries. So I totally agree,
Oh yeah,
and I'm on board with you.
they have, from what we discovered, at least four beings that watch over them. Arcturians are one of them. They're not the main ones. The main ones for her were Syrians,
Okay.
but Arcturians were definitely there, and that's actually when I saw that sparkle. It
Oh,
was dealing
cool.
with that person, and then it's the others, but Syrians are the main ones. So pretty wild.
Yeah, that's really cool. Syrians will come to me sometimes, not too often. One time I was in a Reiki session and a Syrian came straight to my face and just like popped in and said hello. And I'm laughing because a lot of times aliens don't have a lot of like human manners because they don't know like sometimes, oh, give me my space. So that was my experience with a Syrian one time. But the Lyrans, or the lion people,
Mhm.
lots of different names for them, they've also come to me mainly in the dream state in the
Okay.
form of actual like lions. So yeah, aliens are around us
Yeah.
all the time, and they try to show themselves to us in ways that we can understand.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that because one day she was driving somewhere, and you know how you look in the rearview mirror, and she looked in the rearview mirror, and in the back seat, it was either Syrian or Pleiadian. I'm leaning towards Syrian, and she was like, "Oh my God, he's handsome! Oh my God!" And
Yeah.
it's just like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And just instantly gone. So,
Wow, a lot of them. I think so that is one of the misconceptions about aliens, is that aliens are just always like scary, ugly, big eyes, either gray or green or little Martian men. Aliens are actually so different, so humanoid looking sometimes, so insectoid looking sometimes. Like
mhm.
there's just an infinite amount of ET races out there, and they come in all forms. And I think that's why it's hard to believe, but I believe that aliens walk among us, and it's hard for us to even tell the difference because a lot of them look so humanoid. And yes, many of them are handsome and very good looking.
Yeah, and I believe that myself. I do think some of them are walking here and just kicking it for whatever reason, which actually brings us to the next question. Why are they here? I mean, like are they just invested in the soap opera known as Earth and its 2000 season after, having a renewal? I mean, what why are they here?
Yeah, so many different reasons. It really depends not just on the species, but on the individual alien. So I would say that this is something that was actually channeled by my friend Laura, and she was talking about how it's pretty evenly distributed, the amount of aliens that are here that are benevolent, that want to help heal humanity and want to help us raise in our consciousness and to become better evolved. So there's that section of aliens that are here. There's a section of aliens that are here that are more neutral, that are literally just observing us and watching the show because they're curious. There's nothing like planet Earth right now. And then on the other side, there's the more malevolent aliens that are here to kind of disrupt us and to cause havoc and chaos. And there's a lot of reasons behind why they might want to do that, but it is pretty split in thirds of the reasons why these aliens are here.
Okay. And this actually takes us to this um, question with reptilians in regards to them because most of the time they're seen as the big bad of the
Mm,
alien world, which I can understand why, but I'm also a person who I'm not the biggest believer in good and bad. I think it's a human concept and,
mm.
keep us from murdering everybody. But at the
Yep.
same time, it's the intentions behind someone or something that determines a lot. And maybe they don't have the best intentions, but they have their reasons, which we'll never know about. Or maybe we will. I don't know. If I don't know,
Yeah,
we'll find out. But
one day.
yeah, but why are they considered the big bad? And in your opinion, are they the bad guy? Are they an enemy of humanity?
I like what you said about the good and bad and not always subscribing to that, because I also agree with you that it's all in perspective. Because even though they are seen as the big and bad, they definitely don't see themselves as the big and bad. So you're right, it is all about perspective. And so I will note that just due to the polarity in this universe, there are like all different sides. So when I talk generally about the reptilians, I am talking generally more on the negative side, because
Mhm.
yes, that is the reputation that they have, and there is a reason for it. So let me get into a little bit of why they're here, and then we can let the audience decide if what they're doing is something that merits them a bad reputation or if they should be given some slack here. So the reptilians, as I have understood it, because when talking about aliens and galactic history, there's a lot of different stories out there. So, of course, take it as it resonates. But the reptilians are said to be one of the more ancient races to have inhabited Earth. And they actually believe that Earth is theirs. If you think back to when the dinosaurs were here, it's not so hard for us humans to understand that, there were dinosaurs. So, why would it be so hard for us to understand that there were also more humanoid dinosaurs walking on two legs, and those would be considered the reptilians. So if you look at it from that perspective and you think, okay, so the reptilians have been here before humans, at least in the stories that I've heard, and they believe that this is their land, then we have to think about, okay, why are they so disruptive to human beings? Because that's why they have a bad reputation. And when you think about it that way, there's a little bit more history to get into. So, with the reptilians having been here for ever, like hundreds of thousands of years, you enter in the Anunnaki race. And the Anunnaki race is said to have helped to create human beings. And they came to Earth because they were mining. The Earth is filled with so many different resources. And when they were mining, they were like, oh, you know what? Like, we could actually use some like slave labor. We don't actually want to do this ourselves. And at some point, you enter in the human beings who are evolving and they're already seated on the planet. So, this is when the history gets a little bit like, oh, like what actually came first, the chicken or the egg? So,
Hmm.
I do encourage people to look into their own research. But when you have these three characters playing out, the Anunnaki, the reptilians, and the human beings, and the Anunnaki were successfully making the human beings their slave race, building different things for them. um, the reptilians got a little bit jealous of this, and they decided, oh well, we want to also enslave the human beings, because this is our land, so we want them to do what we want them to do. And eventually, there were some higher dimensional aliens that caught wind of this, and they were like, no, you cannot disrupt the human evolution. They're here on Earth for a reason. And so the reptilians were actually banished to go underground, so they say. And it was either they had that choice to be banished underground or for them to leave the planet. And that's where you hear of all these underground tunnels and all these government secret societies like working from the underground. That's where that all comes from. And so at this point, because the reptilians were kind of taken care of or they got a slap on their wrist, the higher dimensional entities started mingling with the human DNA. And now human beings have super high vibrational DNA, much higher than what the reptilians had at that point, because they're considered more low vibrational DNA. Not all of them, but that's what they're considered. So now, not only are these human beings on the earth, they're not banished to the underground, but now they've got more high vibrational DNA than these reptilians. this really pissed off the reptilians, considering this is their planet and we were supposed to be their slave race. So the sayings go.
Yep.
So that is where their anger comes from, I believe. And that's why they do work to disrupt us and cause chaos and different fear frequencies and in different ways. So when you look at it from that perspective, I can understand why they do what they do. I'm not condoning it at all. But what do you think?
Uh, well, kind of, we're going into the Hatfield versus the McCoys here. Um,
Mm.
but, because I know the story, and this is where the Hollow Earth theory comes from, the NWO, New World Order, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, Planet Nibiru or Planet X, whatever it's called, and then mix in some religion, and you have the, Watcher Angels who, or maybe it wasn't the Watchers, but the angels who made it with humans and created the giants and all of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So, uh, personally, I don't know if I can 100% say reptilians were here before us or after, or
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, before us, but I do 100% believe they're here now.
Yeah.
Do I think that they're really intent on wiping out humanity or taking us all out? Not really. I think if they wanted to do that, it would have happened. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of times people say, oh, they want to enslave us and this and that. Okay, well, just do it before a species gets too advanced and actually puts up a fight. That's
Yeah.
how I see it. But I think what happened was that reptilians were sent to a different dimension. Not
Okay. Yeah.
not necessarily, and when I say dimension, I don't necessarily mean like something outside of Newton physics that we know of here,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe a parallel dimension that's just one layer above Earth, and it's very similar, kind of like how they say jinn are from a different dimension that's parallel to Earth, very similar technology wise. They're just more spiritually advanced.
Yeah.
And Jinn, although Jinn are pretty upset because they were supposed to inherit, funnily enough, they were supposed to inherit this planet, but God allegedly negated on the deal and said, "No, I
Oh,
changed my
wow.
mind." So that's part of the reason why Jinn don't like humanity. And when they give you wishes, it's a monkey paw situation.
Gotcha.
So that's what they say. I don't know how true it is. Fun story. But anyway, back to the reptilians. So I can see them being interdimensional, not necessarily a higher dimensional, like fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever we want to call it, but parallel to us in a 3D physical plane,
Ah, mm-hmm.
and they are able to visit. Maybe they have the technology for it. Maybe they just have a better understanding, and so on and so forth. But now, with that being said, we have to remember too, there is a second group of reptilians known as draconians.
Oh, yeah.
And draconians are, uh, they're something. Draconians are the ones I would say are the more intense. And
Absolutely.
they're higher up, I would say. And I don't, and I hate saying higher up because it makes it sound like, oh, they're better than us. And this, it's not that. It's just they have a better universal understanding. Oh, I like that. I, I
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm going to start saying. They just have a better universal understanding. And when a draconian comes through, oh boy, they're coming through. And one of them actually comes through a friend, and he's an alchemist, Curtis Joseph. And you can always tell when it's there because
Oh, wow.
it's intense. It's very, very intense. And it pushes common sense, but it's just wild. Like, I don't know how to explain it properly.
Oh, I believe you.
Yeah,
So you mean that your friend channels the draconian, or you can just feel when the draconian's around?
both. Uh,
Oh,
so he doesn't intend to channel. He just has that
okay.
connection, and it's like it comes through and speaks through him,
Yep.
and it is powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Just very, very powerful. And it's like someone who's just tired of everyone's mess. And it's like, sit down and listen. All right. So,
Yes. It's I love that you brought up the draconians because my dad actually had a very real experience with a draconian in the 3D physical state
ooh,
when he worked for the National Guard in the 1980s. Have you heard this story?
I have not.
Oh, well, do you want me to tell you?
Oh yeah, shoot, yeah.
I only asked you know because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is like the story that made me blow up on TikTok." So, my dad, he is actually pretty religious. Like, we were all raised Catholic, and so one of the reasons we talk together about aliens online is to show other people that, like, you can have these different beliefs and you can still have a mutual, respectful, and even fun conversation about it. So that's what we do together on TikTok. And so when we started talking about more of the alien world, my dad admitted, he's like, I'm pretty sure I've seen a draconian. And I was like, what do you mean you've seen a draconian? I've been in your life for 31 years and you've never told me that you've seen a draconian. What? And so he goes into this story about how when he was in his 20s, so this was the 1980s, he was in a section of New York. I think it was East Fishkill, New York. It was near like the Hudson River or Hudson Valley. And so he was doing patrol. It was nighttime patrol. It was around like, I don't know, 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. And he's just driving around, and all of a sudden he sees this thing come up to him. And I can't remember exactly how many feet away it was from him, but it was definitely close enough for it to be extremely visible, like it wanted for my dad to see him. And so my dad's staring at this. Sometimes he says it was like 8 to 10 feet. Sometimes he says it's like closer to like 11 feet because it's been such a long time. It's hard for him to, I guess, recall 100% the details, but I still think there's validity in the way that he tells his story because his point just being that this was a huge reptile. And he calls it a dragon looking reptile because it had a long snout like a dragon. It had two legs, two arms. He said it was extremely muscular and scaly. He couldn't remember if it had a tail, although he was pretty sure that it did. Because I can imagine if you see something like this coming out of nowhere, your body just kind of goes into shock and into adrenaline.
Yeah.
But he noted that the draconian was wearing some sort of uniform. And so it also had a very putrid sewage like smell. Like it was really, really disgusting. And my dad was just staring at it and it was staring back at him. And then it ran off. And my dad tells the story of how he did not feel fear because he has always felt extremely protected. And there was something to that experience that was interesting because since my dad believes that he is so extremely protected, I think that he is. I think that's the truth. I think that's his reality. And the draconian almost seems like a little bit afraid of him for it to run off.
Yeah.
And that's my dad's story. Come to find out, that land is actually a land where they do present day animal sacrifices. And it's
Oh,
a very weird, weird place.
holy cow.
Yeah, he should come on your podcast.
Yeah, most definitely. And you know what? You just reminded me of something from years ago now, well over a decade ago. And it was on alien addictions. Alien Photog was interviewing, I can't think of his first name, but his last name is Eckert. And he had run ins
Mm,
with reptilians. And it was interesting because and this kind of actually goes back to maybe them wanting to use us as free labor,
Yeah.
they were gathering humans. He was one of them, and they were taking them wherever through some type of gate, maybe to a ship or whatever. And he, and it was so detailed. He specifically remembers, like, he tried to, toughen up against one. It's like, I ain't doing this. I'm not, and it kind of slapped him, like, yeah, you are.
Oh, wow.
And he said that they were impressed because they saw that we developed microwaves. And it's like, what? It's like, oh, wow, they got these things now. Whoa. Wow. Okay. So what? You got a space burrito or something? What is it?
That's really funny.
But they were impressed by it. Like, all right, you guys are coming along. And they would use them as labor, he was saying. And that's all he could really remember. Like getting slapped against something that was very strong and being used as labor, and them saying, oh, wow, they have microwaves.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. I do like that you shared that story because it does bring like the humor in all of this,
Yeah.
right? Because these are unbelievable stories. And so it's just amazing for people to be feeling more confident to be sharing
Mm-hmm.
their stories, whether it's, with a friend or out online, because I, for one, I don't want to say that I'm like naive and I believe everything, but I always believe things, with a grain of salt because I do again believe that everybody has different experiences and it's just fascinating nonetheless.
Yeah, and it's a want to believe,
Right.
and you don't want to just slap someone down and say no, it isn't. But with his case, it was really interesting. He was actually on an old sci-fi show where they try to disprove or prove various paranormal claims.
Mm.
And I don't like how they treated him. They were fairly disrespectful, in my opinion. But one thing they just could not disprove, and this was these earthworms all of a sudden coming out of the ground just for no reason at all and
Oh,
going all over. And he had footage, uh, two instances actually, of an ET captured on film. One of them, unfortunately, the video was corrupted, and he was only able to save a single image, and it looks like a little gray standing in the door. And
cool.
the other one was, I want to say it was an ET that was hovering around or something like that, or it was a ghost or something. It was really weird. And how he caught it, this goes back to the mirror things, because apparently they have some type of camouflage, but it uses light to bend around them, and they're not truly invisible, but then they are. But if you set
Hmm.
mirrors up in the right angle, you can break through their camouflage. And that's what he did, and had his camcorder set up, and he caught the son of a monkey's uncle.
Oh my gosh. That's really cool. I got the chills when you said that. And
Yeah.
so usually when I get the chills, it's like, oh, validation of like, oh, you're onto something. So the
Yeah.
whole setting up the mirrors, that might be something that I don't know that I'd want to test it right away, but hey, I feel like my dad, he
Yeah.
would love it.
I would have to find it because my friend, he actually, uh Alien Photalk, he emailed me the degrees that mirrors had to be set at so you can break through. And
Wow.
he himself, he had a lot of alien contact, but it was with Orion Grays.
Mhm.
And this, I'm happy we're talking about this because it's going to play into DNA and what they might want from us. I don't know, but we'll see.
Oh.
And are you familiar with the hybrid program?
I have heard a lot about hybrids, and when you say hybrid program, are you talking about just like the general broad idea that there are experiments of humans and aliens to create hybrids, or are you talking about something a little bit like more
Uh,
specific?
in this case, it's the splicing of alien DNA with human DNA. So they would add alien DNA to a human and
Mhm.
create a hybrid. I know when sometimes when we say hybrid, people think, oh, you're getting freaky with an alien and all of that. Which, I mean, there are cases out there. So,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
you
Yes,
know,
definitely.
but in
I
this
have.
case, it's DNA.
Yes, I definitely have heard a lot about the hybrid program, and there's a lot of different information that just recently came out about the hybrid program and alien DNA. And I can speak about that too, but I'm interested to know where you're going with this.
Okay, so Alien Photog, AP, we'll just say AP. He has been visited since he was about 12 years old, and he was just, I don't want to say obsessed, but he was obsessed. And uh, an elder gray would come to him, and she said for him to call her Giovanna. And I'll never forget him describing her because he said that even though she didn't look human, she was beautiful. Like
Oh, wow.
it was something very beautiful about her, something with wisdom and just peaceful. It didn't feel like she wanted to hurt him.
Hmm.
And according to him, they would splice alien DNA with human DNA to try and help us evolve a little bit quicker and understand and reach our potential faster because we're so closed off, we're so distracted.
Yep.
And because of that, our progress slows down and it's like, what are you guys doing? Come on. And part of that is why they take kids as well to because when you're younger it's easier to do stuff.
Hmm.
And they try to help that next generation reach their potential quicker and be more understanding and more open to the energies of the universe or just open in general and to have that understanding, which a lot of us we really don't. We're all stuck in our ways.
Yep.
And that's what he was telling me that that program was mostly about. Not necessarily them trying to create the perfect hybrid, half alien, half human, or trying to save their race from extinction. Because I'm sure you heard the stories of Greys being unable to reproduce and they're actually cybernetics and all of that. I mean,
Oh,
it, it,
so many things. Yes.
it could be true, it could not be true. I don't know, but I try to go with what feels like the most sane and logical for me. So,
Right.
them doing this to open us up, I can understand. And when you start looking into the research and everything, and people who are visited by, and I'm specifically talking about Orion Grays in this case,
Hmm.
they have a history. Their family has a history of being visited, and it had something to do with the blood. Like,
Oh,
yeah, so it has something to do with the blood from way back in the day, and it made me think of what you were saying and how because and you said this on a video as well, how we're like 80% human DNA and then maybe
yeah.
20% else something else or whatever. And it's like, oh, so I'm wondering if their ancestors made a deal or came in contact with this and it's like, okay, we follow this bloodline and this is the one we'll work on or do whatever to.
Yes. It's so funny because so many thoughts are coming to my mind as you're talking about the hybrid program. I'm totally on board. I totally think that there's alien hybrids. The new information that came out, and this came from the United Experiencers Initiative, which is pretty new. It's a newer group. There's somebody on TikTok named Nebula who really runs it. And well, that's what she goes by. Her name is Natalie. But she was talking about how there's three different levels of hybrid, and it just all depends on like your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing that you said about like the children coming through and how they are actually being contacted much more quick than we were probably ever contacted. I totally agree with that too, because there are some children now, and there is a name for it, and I wish I knew what the name was. I don't know if they've named it as like a medical condition or something, but some children nowadays, their eyes are so big and so wide apart that they look alien. And if you just Google it, I'm sure that you could find some images. And it's not to say that everybody who has wide set eyes that are super big, like they're alien, but there is something that's coming through with the younger generations that's actually hitting the news media. And I wonder if it's the news media just trying to get on top of it before we all start becoming aware of what's really going on. But yes, I definitely agree with what you were saying about children and hybrids. And with the video that you were talking about, with the 80%, if I remember correctly, because again, a part of this is a little bit of pregnancy brain, but that video I posted, yeah, quite a while ago. And it was in regard to something that my friend Laura had channeled because we were talking about how many humans have alien DNA. And I think the statistic was 80% of human beings have alien DNA, and then 20% either don't or have very little.
Yeah,
Because
that's
then
what it was.
there's also the argument that, well, every single human being is alien, which I don't agree with personally, just because I am very much aligned with the philosophy that anything is possible. Like, I don't tend to hang on to absolute phrases like never or everything or all or nothing, but that's just what I believe. And I feel like I just word vomited on you, so I'll let you take back the mic now.
No, no, that's fine. No, you see, this is the thing. I want you yapping. If I yap too much, no, things aren't good. But yeah, so it makes sense to me. And it also makes me think of the indigo children and I think crystal children and rainbow
Mhm.
kids. I think now we're in the generation of the rainbow and
Mhm.
and all of that. And then I mean, as long as we continue on this path, then the younger generation, they're just going to become more and more aware and open, and hopefully good things can come from it. You know,
Yes.
hope.
I think that's very, very important because a lot of parents nowadays, if they're not awake themselves or if they're not at least open to possibilities, they can become very scared of what their children are able to do. My nieces are very psychic, or I should say at least years ago, they were very psychic. And I think that's just part of like the alien DNA, like when you're opening your abilities, I think it is affiliated with aliens. And my sister got really freaked out. And so she was more discouraging to the children of what they could do, and they were not encouraged to actually foster those abilities.
Hmm.
So I think that would be something that parents should watch out for because kids nowadays are so psychic.
Yeah, and it's only going to grow. I mean, it is evolution.
Right.
It's just a natural thing. The more we understand, the more in tune we become. It's going to happen. It's just one of those things. But I think it's something we should encourage, because if we don't encourage it, if we don't help them with it, and something pops up, it's going to scare them half to death. And
Yes.
you lose a part of yourself as well. And you don't want that. And besides, you never know, they might get the lotto numbers. So
Pay attention to those numbers they're dreaming about.
yeah, seriously. But
This is true.
a fun little side thing here. When I was born, I actually could have won the lottery. Well, my family. My mom told them to play the numbers, and the numbers were my date of birth, 4/28, the year, and the time I was born. And for some reason, my grandparents, they didn't do it, and those numbers
No.
came up. It's
Oh
like, oh,
my God. How
yeah.
mad were they?
I don't think they talked about it. It's one of those things we just don't talk about it. So, but
Wow.
yeah,
That's incredible. I feel like you must bring with you like an air of abundance because that is incredible.
well, I wish. Unfortunately, no, that was a sign of close but no cigar, which is pretty much my life. It's like,
Oh, that's hilarious.
yeah, but who knows? Maybe in the future I'll play those numbers one day.
You should. You should.
Um, but um, but yeah, so people definitely, if you see your kid has some type of ESP or something, encourage it. Like, let's learn from it and push that son of a monkey's uncle. And plus, it'll help protect them as well, because when you're open, e- everything notices for whatever reason. I like to say that you're a lighthouse in the
Yep.
dark, and everything sees you and it's coming there. So if you're aware when you're young, you could protect yourself. You could put up barriers. You have to actually believe, like, nah, you can't hurt me. I'm good. I'm golden. I got Hercules as backup or whoever.
Yeah. That is such a sweet thing. I should tell my son that once he gets to the age of understanding like who Hercules is and all these different gods and stuff in the movies, because I tell my son, and again he's only one, but I know that he sees things and I know that he gets freaked out. So I always tell him, I'm like, Brody, you tell them to go away. They cannot hurt you. And I always have my sage, because sage is just something that I resonate with, and I feel that it helps to protect and cleanse the house. So I definitely do recommend that parents have protection practices as well as encouragement for their children who may be psychic.
Yeah, it will go a long way, and it will help. 100% it will help. And
Yes.
people, they pray to angels for protection a lot. Are you a believer in angels?
Oh, I believe in everything, man. I believe in Bigfoot, fairies, angels. There's not one thing. I had one time somebody told me, "Hey, did you know that there's a giant insect alien that's helping to save or protect Mexico?" And I was like, "Hey, like, sure, why not?" So absolutely, I believe in aliens. Or I'm sorry, I believe in angels.
Yeah, okay. Honestly, that bug alien, that might be a mantis.
A mantis being, yep.
Yeah, the mantis are interesting because they look absolutely horrifying, but apparently
I
they're
know.
they're very peaceful and they're pretty cool. Where it's like, no, we want to help, you know, but they need to pull a Wizard of Oz. Like, don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man. I think that's why there's little bugs in our 3D reality so that we can get used to what a mantis being or insectoid beings look like. Because yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I tell you, they fell with me because I sound like such a girl. Oh, no offense, but I'm terrified
No
of.
worries.
I don't like bugs at all. I can't, like, especially
Yep.
bees. I'm horrified of bees. I will throw someone to get away from a bee. It's minding its own business. It's doing its pollination, all that. If I see it though, like, I
You
can't.
might have had like a trauma or something in a past life if you believe in past lives.
I'm a believer, and I could see that happening with my luck. So, but I can't handle bees. I can't do it. And it's the buzzing that really does it for me. Oh my gosh.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Oh, so I, but anyway, back to the angel thing. So, are angels, in your opinion, extraterrestrials, or are they something else entirely? What are they?
Ooh, that's a good question. And for me, it's hard to answer with 100% confidence, because just always having these alien talks with my dad, who is very religious and who's pretty Catholic, but kind of stepping away because he's opening up more the more we talk about aliens.
Mhm.
I know that from like his perspective and the way that I grew up, alien or not, oh my gosh, I keep saying aliens instead of angels. I think that's a sign. Yes,
Yeah.
aliens and angels are the same. That is something that I believe, but I understand how other people can think that they're different because they're presented differently in the Bible or they're presented differently in religions. But for me, if you think about like what an alien is, and I think that an alien is just an interdimensional being,
Yeah.
like just straight, even Steven kind of point there. And I think that angels are the same. They're interdimensional beings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
I look at them the same.
That's somewhat how I see it. It's just, and this is where it gets very weird for me. I never know how to explain this right, but when we see dimensions, I like to point out we have parallel dimensions that go left to right, and then we have the elevator dimensions, as I call them, that go up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And something could be interdimensional or extra dimensional if you want to go that route. That's a
Mm-hmm.
whole nother ball game. But it could be from okay, so we're on the third floor. They might be from the fifth floor to the left, and they're popping over to visit for whatever reason, versus something that is in this 3D plane, but they're all the way from the side. They may not be from the fifth floor, but they're our neighbor, four doors down. I don't know if that makes any type of sense.
It does. I'm following and I'm seeing the analogy in my mind. I think that's a great way to explain it. I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
It's just a different dimensional, yeah, multi extra. It's just something that we can't always see or feel, but it's like you just have to put faith in it that
yeah.
we can't always see them and that they're there.
Like again, well, I'll use Arcturians as an example. They said that Arcturians are from the same 3D realm plane as we are. However, as time went on, they were able to go up. Their understanding grew, and now allegedly they're ninth dimensional beings, whatever that means.
Mhm.
Cool, awesome, top floor. But they're still in that same space that we share. They're just higher. They're just a few floors up. But
Right,
we still encompass the same thing. They just see it from a different angle.
right. And I think too, something interesting about aliens, because people are always asking me, like, oh, how come I haven't seen one yet? Or how come I haven't seen my star family? I think that when you talk about the different floors, and let's say you go up and up and up, because they say that there's 12 dimensions, some say that there's more. So whichever resonates with the audience. But there are some beings who they're so high dimensional that it's actually very uncomfortable for them to be in this 3D physical reality. So that's one of the reasons why some aliens would choose not to come here and
Yeah,
to not come to Earth specifically.
yeah.
So I think that that elevator analogy really helps.
And adding on to that, we can't perceive them.
Yep.
We might go into some type of Lovecraftian horror type thing, trying to
Mm-hmm.
perceive what's out there and what's beyond. And, that's not always a good thing. And you mentioned the Bible and angels in the Bible. And I always thought this was interesting because when they presented themselves, they would usually say, "Don't be afraid" or "Do not fear me." And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why do you need to say that if you're, all loving and light? Because evidently if we perceive it, it must look awfully scary. And
Yes.
and then it's like, okay, don't worry, I come in peace. Don't worry, man.
Oh my gosh, it's funny you bring that up because another thing that I get from my social media all the time is, well, if aliens are real, how come I can't ever see them? And of course, we're talking about how it's different dimensional. You can't always see them. But I asked them, I'm like, okay, so you want to see an alien. Do you think that your human mind is ready and prepared to do that? It can be a very scary experience. And that is why there's not hordes of aliens rushing to Earth right now, appearing to us in the physical, because there are some people who think and believe that if we were to actually see them, yes, they're so different looking that some of us might even like die of a heart attack, which I don't want to promote that and make people be afraid. But it's just one of the reasons why, like, we have to collectively get our consciousness up to higher levels, higher dimensional entities. Let's feel them first. Let's ask to talk to them in the dream state because the physical appearance is not something I believe the collective is ready for.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it would cause panic. And, although I do like to joke around, but I'm also somewhat serious about this. If you want world peace, have them just show up. Because now we have, no, like seriously, we have something else
True,
to
true.
direct all our hate to. So there we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, like, "You're the reason our world is so messed up," at least, more of the malevolent ones, but I
Yeah.
agree, this is true.
And I say this about demonic entities because I know a lot of occultists who work with demons and whatnot, and sometimes people say, "Well, why can't I see them?" and this and that, and I always say this. All right, uh, entity is going to come to you however you perceive them or you want to perceive them. If you think this thing is Belial, for example, if you think Belial is this 10-foot monster and snarling and just raw, okay, that's how he's going to come to you. You're going to get freaked out. You're not going to work with him, but you'll believe
Yeah,
it's Belial. However, if he came to you as like a little girl in a tutu, you're not going to believe it's him at
true.
all. You're going to be like, "What is this? Get out of here." You're not going you're going to insult him. You're not going to work with them.
Yeah,
And so a lot of it's our own mind. And we honestly, we can't perceive aliens. We can't perceive extraterrestrial. We're told what they look like through other people, but in truth,
mhm,
we don't know what they look like. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm speaking in generalities here because there are some people who, like yourself, you've seen them firsthand, but in general, we really don't know. We only know what we're told, and then we believe that, and then we project that image on them. And they might have the technology to say, "All right, here I am," and now everyone's freaked out. Well, yeah.
Absolutely, they meet us where we're at. Absolutely, especially when it comes to how we want for something to be presented to us. I totally agree with you on that, and also, I've only actually ever seen an alien in the physical one time, and it was during sleep paralysis, and, it was a particular night where I had asked for energetic healing because I was doing a bunch of tarot readings for people, and I take on a lot of energy when I do that,
Hmm.
and so this alien came to me. I do think it was a taller gray, although I can't tell you with 100% certainty because it kind of freaked me out that I saw an alien at the end of my bed. So I was peeking through my eyes and I wasn't really like trying to see the alien. So even somebody who talks about aliens and alien contact all the time, it is something that is more striking no matter what anybody else thinks. For anybody who wants to be able to see aliens, it's like I believe it's going to happen for all of us when we're actually ready for it.
Yeah. And that reminds me of two things that happened. So, my first co host, Rose, she was being visited by Zeta Grays, which are supposed to be the smaller grays.
Mm-hmm.
And she had one, for whatever reason, steal her dog biscuits. Like, like no
Oh,
joke.
wow.
Yeah, they took some dog biscuits and it's like, what the heck? Why? These are expensive. Don't do that. And then another time she was on her couch just looking at TV and it was a light that flashed in her eye and she just fell asleep. When she woke up, her pajamas were on backwards.
Oh my gosh.
And then she actually saw one at the edge of her bed one night. And before she completely blacked out, she was able to touch him. And she said it felt like dolphin skin.
Okay. Ah, okay.
And
That makes sense.
yeah, and then she was out. And the other time, and this is with someone else, and dealing with actually things around me, which aren't exactly extraterrestrial. Well, one of them is multiversal. I don't know. Her name is Pearl. That's just a story on its own. But yeah, I don't know where to start with her. But the other one, his name's Raphael, not Archangel Raphael, but
Hmm.
a friend of mine was we were chatting one day and we were video chatting and I actually saw Raphael pop up on the little preview screen that you can see when you're video chatting and it was over my right shoulder. I jumped. I was like, "What the heck was that?" and all that. And she was saying like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing," and I would like to feel his energy and this and that. And I said, like, "You sure? I don't know if you want that." It's like, "Yes, I want to do it. I know, I'm ready." And we asked like, "Okay, can you do something? I don't know how this works."
Hmm.
And oh boy, he did. It was just literally for a split second, and she jumped, just ah! like, and it was only for literally a split second, but she felt some heavy stuff. Like I felt it, and she was breathing hard, just like you know, like she just ran a marathon. It's like, whoa, either you had the best time of your life or something happened here. Um,
Yeah.
it was wild.
It's be careful what you wish
So
for because once you use your free will, they are there at your beck and
yeah,
call.
and now the thing is though, she was like, I just wasn't ready. You just kind of popped up. Well, you said you were ready, and then she's
Right.
like, can you do it again, please? Like, no, that was it. That was your one chance.
Yeah.
That was it. But your experience reminded me of those.
Yeah. I think that is very normal to happen, especially when you're curious and you ask and they give you a little bit. And if they do feel the fear frequency coming from you, though, they will immediately stop if they are benevolent aliens. So I'm not surprised that Raphael was stopping.
Well,
You were saying that
to be
Raphael
fair,
was in. Mhm.
he's angelic.
Angelic. Okay, I was
Yeah,
gonna ask. Okay,
yeah.
but same, I think, with all entities. Once you start releasing fear, they stop and try to make you
Yeah, you
comfortable.
would hope so. I mean, unless they're just a giant jerk or they want to laugh or something. You know, because I
Right.
wouldn't want to freak someone out if they're trying to understand or get to know me or whatever. That's the last thing I want because if you scare them, that's it. They're not coming
Yep.
back. Like me and
Oh my
bees.
gosh. My friend actually had a really scary experience with an alien, and she was having sleep paralysis as well, but her sleep paralysis was very much like a physical experience where she would sit up in bed, her eyes would be open, and she would point and literally be in like a different dimension. And her boyfriend at the time would witness this and know that like she was not there in the dimension with him. And so she was screaming, "What the heck is that?" Because there was this giant alien that just like peeked its head into like through the doorway to see what she was up to and then just like slowly moved backwards. And ever since that experience she's like, I never want to see an
Eh,
alien, so that scared her a lot.
okay, you see that's some exorcist shining mess right there.
Yeah. Her poor boyfriend, I mean, he's like, what the hell.
Yeah, nope, 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 nope. Can't have that. But yeah, and this is gonna bring me to our closer here because there's someone who I've had on the show a couple of times. Her name is Indrid Cold. Hi, Indrid, and she wants to meet an ET so badly. She wants this experience, and I'm going to ask you: is it possible for this to happen? Is it possible for someone to ask enough and be open enough to be visited? And if so, how do you do it?
Oh wow, this is a loaded question. I'm very happy to answer it. It goes on an individual basis for sure. And I will say that for listeners who really want a full list of ET contact tips on my TikTok profile at Coming Out Cosmic, I have a whole playlist and it's called ET contact tips. So you can see what works for you because it is very individual. So the first thing that I would say about initiating ET contact is that it really does need to come from you, the person who wants the ET contact. And I believe this is because of the law of non intervention, which is a universal law. They cannot intervene with our free will. So the first step is honestly just asking, like, hey, I would love to have alien contact for the highest good of all involved. Now, that is the step two. You want to intend for it to be a good benevolent experience because if you're just inviting in any ET, you best believe that other ETs who don't have your best interest will try to come through too. So once you ask and you set the intention that it is benevolent ET contact, the next thing that I would recommend is that you ask for the visitation to be remembered, because I do believe that aliens are visiting us every single night. And they do this to provide energetic healing. They do this when we're unconscious, we're not even aware of it, because I think that most human beings are extremely connected and they're getting all sorts of different downloads and channels in the dream state from aliens. So you want to ask for it to be something that you will remember. Once you do those 3 steps, see what happens. Now, if you're not getting like the ET visitation of your dreams, then you might want to start asking for ET contact in different ways, because the truth is, you might not be ready for a full on ET visitation. And what truly comes to mind here is the higher self. So I don't know if you subscribe to the higher self, but it's essentially the most purified version of you that's always known you, etc. And there's a much better definition out there, but for the sake of the closing question, I'll just say that your higher self is always looking out for you, and an alien cannot override your higher self. So, no matter how much you beg and plead to have alien contact, if your higher self is like, dude, she's not ready, then you will not have that alien contact. So, above all, before trying to initiate alien contact, I think that one should really get in touch with their higher self first and talk to their higher self about potential blocks. Why am I not seeing aliens or feeling them around me, etc.? And you will get a lot more information from the higher self. So those would be my beginner's tips. And I don't know if you want me to go more in depth, but that's definitely like steps 1 through 4 of initiating ET contact in the most safe way.
I think that's perfect. Honestly, that's really good. And I know Indrid, she will definitely be practicing those. So,
Oh, perfect. I
so
wish her the best of luck. They're
yeah.
just usually waiting, you know?
Yeah, so thank you so much. That's awesome. And yeah, this is where we're going to end it. Christine, thank you so much for joining. And where can people find you if they want to reach out or check out your content and all of that?
It's been such a pleasure, Melvin. Thank you so much for having me. And I am at Coming Out Cosmic on all major platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, primarily known on TikTok, however. And I have a website too. It's comingoutcosmic.com.
And those links can be found in the description below. And while you're there, be sure to check out Unexplained Possibilities on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, all that good stuff. Click on it, subscribe, like, blah, 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 yaggity smackety. And as usual, guys, remember, there are things that go bump in the night. Go ahead and tell them hi. Bye, everybody.